Tom, you got AOC out there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, putting out a webinar, doing a webinar to help illegals avoid, I guess, apprehension, giving tips about how to continue to remain in the country and ultimately game the system.
And I sent an email today to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is that impediment? Is that impediment? I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. Is that impediment? Is that impeding our law enforcement efforts? If so, what are we going to do about it? Is she crossing the line? So I'm working with the Department of Justice and finding out where is that line that they cross. So maybe AOC is going to be in trouble now, but I need the AOG to opine on that. But because there's impediment is impediment, in my opinion. I'm not a prosecutor, but we need some further guidance on that. But again, if we have to take every federal dollar out of the city, we'll do it. I mean, we're done. This is about public safety. This is about community safety. Knowingly releasing a public safety back in the public is just stupid. You're putting the public at great risk. You're putting our officers at great risk. You're even putting the illegal alien at great risk because anything can happen on arrest on the street. So we just want to make common sense. In sanctuary cities, they want to step aside. We're coming. We're going to do it for you. If you don't want to make your community safer, President Trump's going to.
Hey, I like Tom Homan. He ain't playing no games. And it seems like AOC and Democrats are in a bit of a pickle here. They've gotten themselves in possibly some legal trouble. We're going to be talking about that a little bit today. First, we got to get on AOC, of course, because, yeah, as you heard, she was trying to offer some advice to her constituents on how to avoid detainment. Yeah, and she recently ran to NPR, and here's that clip. Let's dive in.
Of critical information to my constituents.
You had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents. And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Mm-hmm. Were you? I
was giving advice to all of my constituents. Yeah.
He said he was going to report you, or even that he did reach out to the Department of Justice. Have you heard from the Department of Justice?
I have not, and I intend on reaching out to the Department of Justice to inquire.
Really? What would your question be for the Department of Justice?
Well, there is a member of the Trump administration who is threatening and seeks to open an inquiry, and are you going to do it?
What would you learn? What do you hope to learn from that exchange?
I think it's important to know where this administration stands and if they intend on using political intimidation to silence their critics.
Ain't that ironic, huh? Because isn't that what Joe Biden and all of you Democrats were just doing to Trump? But we ain't gonna talk about that, though. No, because Trump's a criminal. Well, AOC, according to the law, you're a criminal. You're not allowed to do that. And notice she was very careful with her words, too, okay? Because that's a key part of it. She said all people. But the thing about it is, you're not allowed to aid and abet. And the thing, like, AOC knows this, and that's why you saw her choosing her words very, very carefully as she was talking about this, because that's important. The way that she words this. And of course, yeah, she did write a letter, of course. And I have it right here. Here it is on your screen. Okay. I write to request clarity on whether the Department of Justice has yielded to political pressure and attempts to weaponize the agency against elected officials whose speech they disagree with. No, this isn't just speech we disagree with. This is actually against the law. In seeking clarity on the law, I don't think is a bad thing. Tom Homan asked for clarity. That's a good thing. So we're not in the dark about this. AOC is not the only person in trouble. some of these mayors of these cities are in trouble as well. Boston's mayor, Denver's mayor, as well as Chicago's mayor, and then we have New York City's mayor are in some hot water, in some real hot water, and they recently had to testify in front of Congress, and this is how it went.
Mayor Johnston, are you willing to go to jail for violating federal law?
The city of Chicago complies with all laws.
Oh, I highly doubt that. Mayor Wu?
We are not violating federal law.
Mayor Wu, I have a last couple questions for you. Do you believe that ICE arresting a child rapist, quote, threatens everyone's safety, end quote? Yes or no?
No.
Does ICE arresting a murderous MS-13 gang member threaten everyone's safety? Yes or no?
No.
I would like to hold up this quote of you where you say ICE's efforts actually threaten the safety of everyone, end quote, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. You're a hypocrite. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, Nancy Mace is not playing, man. She's not playing any games. You're a hypocrite. And I got the evidence. I love it, I love it, I love it. But she's not the only one. Anna Paulina Luna. Yeah, she got fiery too.
Chair now recognizes Ms. Luna from Florida.
Mayor Wu, does the Boston Trust Act restrict communication with federal immigration authorities regarding individuals' immigration status, yes or no?
We do not collect immigration status in law enforcement.
I'd just like to point out, and Mr. Chairman, if I could enter the Boston Trust Act into the record. Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. On page, or let's see, section 4AA, a law enforcement official and employment of the city department, agency, or commission shall not, and then A, inquire of an individual on his or her immigration status. Under Title 8, U.S. Code subsection 1373 stipulates that local governments cannot prohibit or restrict communication with federal immigration authorities regarding individuals' immigration status, so your enforcement of this act is in direct violation of that statute. Can you please confirm?
That is not
Thank
the
you,
truth.
ma'am. That's a U.S. code. I don't know about you, but U.S. code does not lie.
We do not ask about
Mayor
immigration
Johnson, I'm not
status, and that is
talking
what
to you anymore.
makes us
Next
safe as a
question,
city.
Mayor Johnston, you said in your testimony that the first step you took after illegal aliens arrived was to provide them with housing. Is that correct, yes or no?
Folks that were on the streets freezing to death, we gave access to shelter. Yes, we did.
Thank you. Not to be rude here, but you have a good understanding of what the definition of harboring is, correct?
I do.
Okay. For those that might not, harboring means to knowingly or recklessly provide shelter or place to stay for an illegal alien. And according to Title 8 of U.S. Code subsection 1324, that is also a federal crime. Just to be clear, did you also say that you would be willing to go to jail to stop deportation efforts?
I did say that I'd be willing to stand up for all of our residents, and the context was that was the point at which the administration was threatening to deploy the U.S. military to streets of our cities to
Okay.
pull kids out of schools and churches,
Thank
so we
you.
were worried about that.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record an article from CBS.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. In this, it says, Johnston said earlier this week that he's willing to use civil disobedience and, if necessary, going to jail to stop deportations. My final question would be for you, Mr. Mayor Johnson. Do you believe that Chicago's welcoming city ordinance encourages illegal aliens to enter the United States, specifically into Chicago, yes or no?
No.
Okay. So you don't believe that banning the transfer of individuals into ICE custody for the purpose of civil immigration enforcement encourages illegal immigration into Chicago? Or how about agencies, sorry, one second, or agents not being able to stop, arrest, or detain individuals based solely on their immigration status or administrative warrant?
So we comply with all laws, local, state, and federal.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 1324, and is a federal offense. But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled. which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation. And as soon as I leave here, these will be going over to Pam Bondi.
Going to Pam Bondi's office. I love it. I love it. Some accountability, some accountability. I'm not mad at that at all. And just for good measure, I got to get the brother Byron in on it because he got fiery too.
Mayor Johnston, coming back to you. How much did your city spend on illegal immigration? Do you have a round number?
Over the last couple of years on all newcomers, whatever their status was, it's around $79 million since 2022.
$79 million. Mayor Johnson, Chicago. How much has the city of Chicago spent on illegal immigration?
If you're referring to the 2022 up to 2024 of the buses coming from Texas, roughly the same percentage of the state of Texas, about 1% of our overall budget.
What is that? Because we don't have the city's budget in front of me. Numbers.
It's 1%, and if you want the actual calculation, we can make sure someone...
You're the mayor. You don't have the math in front of you.
It's 1% of the overall budget over the last 4 years.
That's why you're a failing
which
mayor.
is
Mayor
the same
Adams,
number that was sent from us from the state of Texas.
How much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration? Mayor Johnson, I already asked you. You don't have a hard number. And if you don't have a hard number, you're not running your city well. Mayor Adams, how much did the city of New York actually spend on illegal immigration?
$6.9 billion of taxpayers'
$6.9 billion of taxpayer money on a problem that was fostered on the American people. Mayor Wu, in the city of Boston, how much did you spend?
We don't ask about immigration status and delivering city services.
You don't ask about how much money the city of Boston has spent on illegal immigration? Are you out of your mind?
We don't distinguish between immigration status.
Do you manage your budget or not, Mayor Wu?
That is how we keep our city safe.
Mayor Wu, do you manage your budget or not?
We have the numbers to prove it. I manage my budget. I have a AAA bond rating dating back 10 years.
So to the city of Boston,
budget.
just understand that your mayor does not care how much of your resources she has spent on people who are not citizens
the city
of
of Boston
the city of
is
Boston.
sick of having people outside Boston telling us what
Mr.
Bear. Byron did not come to play, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, yeah, man, it seems like Democrats are having a real bad time right now, and it's about damn time. And I hope more of it continues, right? Because these people, they're terrible folks. They really are. I mean, there's no other way to put it. No other way to put it. The Democrat Party deserves everything it has coming for it. And it's a sinking ship. And I'm loving watching it. It is a sinking ship. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We need more of it. And any Democrat that is a criminal or is committing crimes, like possibly AOC, maybe, we shall see, they should be prosecuted. They should be prosecuted. Now, I will say I would understand not prosecuting them simply because of the optics, right? Because we know what Democrats are going to do. But on the other hand, if you commit the crime, you got to do the time. And it shouldn't matter what mainstream media tries to paint it as, which, the mainstream media is going to paint Trump as a dictator and a tyrant and blah, 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 because he locked up his DOJ, locked up this Democrat or that Democrat. That's exactly what they're going to do. Fully expect that. So, I mean, maybe wait until after the midterms. I don't know. Or if you're going to do it, do it now, ASAP. So by the time the midterms come, this is all kind of died down. It's kind of faded away. That's just my humble opinion. If you're going to do it early or do it immediately after the midterms. That's just my humble opinion. Don't do it real close to the midterms, or don't do it super close to 28. Because, people can be influenced by mainstream media still. Do I think that mainstream media has the power that it once had? Obviously not. We saw that. We witnessed that. But they still have a little bit of power, and I do think they could influence some folks to feel and believe that Trump and Republicans are dictators or tyrants or whatever for locking up some Democrats. So, what do you think? What do you think? Should these folks be locked up? Or maybe not even locked up, maybe just charged and found guilty and get a little slap on the wrist like old boy did, Jamal Bowman. Y'all remember Jamal Bowman, the guy that pulled the fire alarm and said, "Oh, well, I didn't know. He just basically got a slap on the wrist. Maybe we should do something like that. Make them all pay a fine of some sort. You know, a little slap on the wrist. Don't throw him in jail, but, you know, it's like, don't do it again now. Don't do it again. Or just kind of just leave it alone. What do y'all think? Talk to me. Let me know. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.